poppin' squad? It's your boy Jesimein. Today we have ourselves my FinalCrest build that I've been working on, man. It's actually really fun. It's super support based. For the people who are confused on why I choose this instead of just a 6-piece variant, obviously it's because, I mean, it's pretty much cookie cutter for 6-piece. We know what they do. This kind of gives you like a hybrid utility, and obviously we all love Ninjabike backpack builds, and it is based off the Ninjabike backpack, and it's something that we haven't really got to use in a long time. So, you know, everybody's playing around now that they're able to use these builds, and I kind of just wanted to test these two out because obviously Final Measure is extremely strong, and it's not even just because of the buffs. Stopping grenade pushes is a very strong talent in this game because a lot of people love throwing grenades, and grenades are extremely strong now. So being able to stop that while being able to put that CC out is kind of like a hybrid tank slash CC slash aggro stopper build. So without further ado, let's get into detail. So you guys can see decent firearms, 4700. You can easily spec this into more skill power if you would like a harder hitting turret. The whole purpose of this build isn't around the turret's damage, it's more the CC of it, and that's why I only went with the 2-piece. I'm not really worried about doing that much damage with this build. I just want to do enough damage where I'm not taking lightly, but I also want to be able to stay alive and be able to keep that CC going and stopping those grenades. So the weapon I'm using is a house. The weapon based off of whatever you like the best. I would prefer you go with the house only because realistically it's like the best gun in the game, and I don't want to steer you guys in the wrong direction. Going into the chest piece, it is a Final Measure classified chest piece with health and exotic damage resilience. Roll exotic damage resilience. You want to stack this so much so predators marks are basically like nothing to you. So just because Final Measure already has 25% just off the 2-piece, that's a huge amount. So I almost have 35% just off this one piece. So that's something to spec into. That's something to take in consideration when you're fighting. You want to be the one to take the predator's bullets. It's going to do the less damage to you, and obviously they're going to realize that, and they're going to try their best to go towards your teammates, and that's where the fire turret will kick in. Going into the mask, we have a mask roll for stamina, exotic damage resilience on the mask too. I pretty much stacked exotic damage resilience on this build just to overkill it. I want to be able to literally like look at a predator and scare them away by the fact that they're doing no bleed ticks, because being that I have 611 toughness, I'm going to be tanky anyways, and that just pretty much like nullifies the entire predator build. Going into the knee pads, this is where the Firecrest begins. I haven't really rolled anything, didn't need to, but it's stamina with health. If you want to do more damage and you feel like 611 is a little too tanky, you don't really need that. You can easily roll crit damage right here and bump up your DPS a lot. Being that you're using a submachine gun anyways, that crit damage is going to be good no matter what build you're running. Going into the backpack, Ninjabike backpack, roll for stamina and health. I wish I had bleed resistance. If you have bleed resistance, GG, that makes it even better against pred. I have burn resistance, which is really good also because obviously if I go against another Firecrest, you want to be able to shake that flame off as fast as possible so you can have your flame down. And going down into my masks, my gloves, I'm sorry. Same thing, obviously, the same as most gloves. You want to have whatever main roll. Mine's roll for firearms, crit hit damage, enemy armor damage, and SMG damage. I wish I had skill haste instead of enemy armor damage, or just raw SMG damage. But crit chance. I'm over here tripping. I'm sorry, you guys. It's late. But skill haste would be the best to go because you're not really worried about your damage necessarily. You're just more focused on being annoying. If anything, this build will definitely annoy a team. And the only thing they could possibly counter with is a full-fledged EMP onslaught. Because the moment that they can't pop that onslaught, you have to really worry about the disrupt grenades, and those are the ones that get diffused, so it's pretty much stopping it. As long as you stay near your turret and protect it, it's going to be pretty good. So going into the holster, it's going to be a regular whole holster. Mine's non-optimized, so if you are a dedicated Firecrest user and Final Measure user, you're going to have these gear pieces already rolled. You're going to have them on nice and mid-max and optimized. Your stats are going to look way better than mine. I don't really use these two gear sets, so I wanted to try to put them together. But as you can see, the stats are still pretty good, even though they're not optimized. I have health rolled on here. If you want to do more DPS, obviously you can roll crit chance. Now, explaining the build and how I run it. Basically, you want to camp your turret. Yes, it sounds kind of boring. It sounds kind of cheesy, but that's the whole premise of the build. Premise of the build is to hold up somewhere where you can have a choke point where they have to force your turret. You want them to spam their grenades. You want to be able to keep a line of sight so that they don't over spam, where basically that you're not going to have the defuse timer fast enough to the point where they can just come right through you, or they can disrupt your turret and cause like your whole build to basically be negated. But the cool thing about Final Measure is it has no true nerf. and no true counter to its defuse. Its defuse is going to happen no matter what, whether you're EMP'd, whether you're on fire, whatever. So that's the cool thing about Final Measure that I really like, is that it actually works no matter what, and that's pretty much a consistent benefit for your team. Now, as far as the fire turret, a lot of people want to have a hard hitting turret. I mean, if you're a Firecraft user, you're so used to it. But I have to stress this to you: the focus is not the damage, because I easily could have put right here in these mods, I could have easily put turret damage or turret health or whatever, but I went to spec into first aid self heal because I rather stay alive for the longevity factor than the necessarily the damage factor. You want to have a teammate that can put out damage, or teammates that put out damage anyways with this build, and you just pretty much hold everybody else at bay while keeping them protected from nades, because a bunch of spam nades can actually make or break in this meta, being that the heals are so low. So why do I think I like it better than 6-piece? Really, there's not much reason why I like it in 6-piece, other than the fact that I have a really ranged turret, which really locks down a lot of things that people don't realize. This little buff from having a 3-piece is huge: 50% turret range and turret or 30% damage. So that range really makes a difference if you know where to set up your turret versus just running a 6-piece with the fire turret. That's what people are gonna say. Why don't you just run a 6-piece Final Measure? You'll be able to get your buff, your defuse, and you still have a turret for CC. No, I'm telling you, the 50% range is a big difference, and it's, for some reason, I don't know if this is like an unspoken buff, but it procs flame way faster for some reason. I don't know what it is. Don't quote me on it. I'm not saying this is a fact, but I'm saying whenever I run 3-piece or more, I do realize that they are on fire a lot longer. Maybe it's because the range and they can't escape it as much, or maybe maybe I just know how to place it. I don't know, but for the most part, it's going to do a lot of work, especially when you're getting rushed by multiple people. So what can you really run with this spec wise? So if you really wanted to, and this is obviously based off your preference, instead of my way, which is I went the more toughness way, because I like toughness. I want to stay in the fight longer. That adds to more damage, that adds to more CC. So I have firearms mods with health on mine. You can easily change that to firearms mods with skill power, or firearms mods with skill haste, depending on if you feel your turret's not coming back fast enough, which I don't really find that I really need skill haste at all. Being that the cooldown happens while the turret's there anyways, it's not really that big of a problem, so I'm not really worried about it. But as far as people coming in and they're going to say, well, the 6-piece variants are better, it's all situational. This is kind of a hybrid mix for the people who like Firecrest, people who like Final Measure, and they like both abilities, and this kind of gives you a taste of both, being that basically the 6-piece is only a little bit more optimal than running a regular 5-piece Firecrest anyway. So being that Firecrest 6-piece is not that important, it's better to have the baby bonuses of the build rather than spec all the way to trying to have 4-piece, which just gives you damage. So that's pretty much it for the build in its entirety. For the people who want to run it, this is a support-based build. You can run it solo. I wouldn't recommend running it solo. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend many builds other than Nomad to run solo, or maybe even Tactician. But for the most part, this is a solo abo build. It's very strong, especially in one-on-one situations. You're not getting touched unless they destroy the turret, and even if they put their immune station down, if you shoot it out, that's it. It's gone. They have to relocate. So this build gives you time to heal. This build saves you from tack links. This build saves you from major pushes that could be super annoying. It really negates Predator's Mark. And the reason I say it negates Predator's Mark is, 1, because of the EDR, and 2, because if you stop a Predator from shooting, they're not doing anything. Just like with most builds. But being that Predator needs 10 stacks, if you have them on fire, you can kind of push them down to their last heal so that when they do start shooting you, you have the upper advantage. So going into the abilities real quick, obviously this is all preference. I just have a booster shot on, and I'm going to obviously have a fire turret, must have, obviously, for the build. As far as talents, I'm going to actually be running Wildfire. One of the most important talents with this build, obviously, because CC is everything: strike back, critical save, on the move. Simple, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people like asking this. I don't know, and maybe it's not that important to you guys, but here's the scopes and stuff I run on my house. I run this house on every single build because I kind of run the same numbers on most of my builds. I like super tankiness, so Vicious and Deli will be good with this. But you can actually, if you want to run this build and you have another house that has burner talents, I would change the talents to your preference. You know what I'm saying? You can get talented or something if you invest more in electronics or something, and just get maybe even intensity or something. Just something annoying that can pretty much signify the fact that you're using somewhat of a skill build. Because really, if you really wanted to be super support, you can easily just roll a lot of this toughness off, go down to around like 500 or 500k, still pretty tanky, and have a super load more of skill power. So that's just something to you guys want to look in. I'm pretty sure the people who main Firecrest and Final Measure know how to build that a little better than I do. But this is just kind of the universal way I look at it running the hybrid. So this has been the Firecrest build, or my bad, FinalCrest build, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it, man. Go out there, burn some people, defuse some bombs, and get that CC going. You know what I'm saying? Do that thing for the culture. Let me know what you guys think about this build. Is it trash? Is it something good? Is it actually unique? You know what I'm saying? Have you seen this build already? Have you tried it? I want to know. What can I do to fix this build, make it better, or is it good? You know, whatever you guys think. So thank you guys so much for watching. It's been real. Hope you guys enjoyed the nice little fire backdrop, you know, set the mood for it. Go out there and set down these turrets and have people call you cheese. You know what I'm saying? It's been real. Your boy is out.
Box. All right, return here.
What's up, Shoofly?
Focus, Shuffly. Shuffly's folded.
Oh, Shoofly's down.
Give me your life,
Shoofly.
Yeah. Oh, I'm about to stick you on my them, basically. That damage.
Watch out for the nades. Oh, you got the final man. Oh, chilling.
Oh, they're give me that damage. Oh, yeah. No.
Keep throwing them nades. Oh. What you guys got?
Oh, they pulled the Shocky out. Oh, he's down.
Sick,
he's down.
Man. I don't even have the flame turret.
Oh, they're green for that, man.
Hello. Oh, God. Hi, guys. Gonna scooch my way in here.
Damn, I'm getting beamed. Shadow.
Back up.
Excuse me.
Look at them pushing.
The burn.
Oh.
No!
Bro, Jacob, what are you?
Oh my God.
Thank you. No.
Where we going?
Oh,
where we going?
Yeet. Oh, never mind.
Oh, wait,
I hear
you
you.
give me that fire.
Oh, Shoofly, you got lucky, my guy. Watch your back. Oh, they EMPing.
Yep.
We out here.
I'm running back to extraction one. Oh my God.
I can't breathe.
Camacho,
Oh, bro,
Camacho.
that's it. We're separated, dude.
Damn, but they following you.
I'm bleeding.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Man, we're both gonna die. Where are all these?
Right, we chilling. We don't die out here. We do this. This is light work right now. We're just not. I'm not warmed up. I haven't played this game.
Get back in here, boys. Oh, rip.
Oh.
Flood.
Good green. It's alright. I got green. We chilling.
Back up. Hey, up the stairs. Tactics.
Dude.
Tactics.
I'm about to get focused.
Up the stairs.
Dude.
Hi, guys.
Burn.
Don't mind me.
Oh.
Bro, they pushing up
Damn,
here
yeah,
so
man, what's
tough,
at me?
bro. Oh, Shoofly.
Don't leave me.
I'm about to die.
Sorry, Shadow.
I'm good. They came after me.
Go. Run back.
Finish him.
No,
Finish
okay.
him.
Finish him. Randy.
Hey, I need a mech.
Oh, I'm gonna bleed. Get off me, stupid bleed. I'm good. Yay. Success. Great.
Oh,
wait.
I'm running the wrong mods on right now. I'm supposed to be doing highlight heal. Shoot.
Wow, dude.
Damn.
Because it was Jesimein tell me.
Alright.
Get him, Kurt. Get him.
You know, Massive only listens to farmers. That's because that farmers.
Oh, hold this.
Yes, he's feeding us.
Bro.
Camacho right here.
Yep, Camacho. Oh, whoa. Okay, Camacho.
Are they
That boy
focusing?
getting lucky, my guy.
Like,
Lit, you're gonna have 100K subscribers with no uploads.
I know,
We
dude.
got that. Oh, don't be face thank you. Look at that EDR. Oh my God. EDR OP.
Oh, the bleed.
Give me.
What's
Oh,
up?
behind us.
Never mind.
Oh wait, where you at? Alright, we good.